here's the first video in the pelvic floor video series. So we're going to basically talk about an introduction to the basic anatomy of the pelvic floor, why it's so important, and who needs to work on pelvic floor strengthening and exactly what that looks like and what that means, and what we're going to be doing through all of these pelvic core videos. So basically what it is that the pelvic floor is kind of the gateway to core stability and core strength. It is basically the base of your core, and it helps to kind of support all those internal organs and serves as kind of the catalyst in the sequencing of core stability and strength. So what it comes down to is if you don't have good stability and strength through your pelvic floor, that's going to affect all of the other abdominal and core muscles and structures. Usually when I describe the pelvic floor and the sequencing of the pelvic floor, I describe it as a cylinder. So basically your pelvic floor is at the base of the cylinder, your diaphragm is at the top, and then your layers and layers of abdominal muscles through the back, and the transverse abdominis, which basically comes from the back, wraps all the way around to the front like a girdle. That's kind of the long part of the cylinder. So it all kind of stems from breathing, and we'll talk more about breathing and why it's so important. As your diaphragm rises and falls, that's going to basically load the pelvic floor. And that pelvic floor needs to have that ability and that elastic recoil to react to that load. And as it reacts to that load, that helps trigger and sequence all of the different muscles through the abdominals. Basically, that's what the core is. A lot of the pelvic floor muscles are also muscles that assist with or are prime movers of the hips. So sometimes if people have low back pain or hip pain, it can also be stemming from some tightness or lack of stability, strength through the muscles in the pelvic floor. So we're going to also kind of talk about that. Basically what it comes down to is when people think of pelvic floor strengthening, the first thing they think of is doing Kegels. And a lot of people aren't taught the proper way to do Kegels. We'll talk about that. But just sitting there and doing Kegels, is that really going to allow the muscles in the pelvic floor to properly sequence and engage during functional activities? That should happen automatically. It shouldn't always be a conscious effort. Sometimes it becomes a conscious effort after having children or after having surgery to get those muscles working again. But the ultimate goal is to allow those pelvic floor muscles to adapt to changes in movement. So if I go to squat down and I'm rotating this way, if I squat down and I'm rotating this way, either way, it's putting different stresses through the legs, through the pelvic floor, and through the core. So the core needs to basically react to daily things that I'm doing. So we need to train the pelvic floor, or the pelvic core, that whole sequence, including the abdominals, including the diaphragm, including the glutes, to adapt to daily life activities, so that your exercises that you're doing, and when we're having a lot of fun doing all these exercises, that should carry over to when you go to pick something up or reach for something overhead, so that you don't have that pelvic pain, you don't have any incontinence issues, and you don't have back pain because you've learned how to move properly. So in this video, we're basically going to go through some very simple exercises with the pelvic core ball, or I'll show you some alternatives if you don't have a pelvic core ball, on how to kind of start this process of engaging the abdominal muscles, engaging the pelvic floor muscles, and doing that properly and in a safe environment. These exercises are so basic that I'm going to show you today that if you have acute low back pain, if you have chronic low back pain, if you have pelvic pain, or even after C-section or after giving childbirth, a week to 10 days after that, you can start to begin some of these very light and basic exercises floor and